Well, hey folks, how y'all doing? This is Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the man cave, and part of my string of blessings from the good Lord and Hobby King is sending me out the FG-1 Corsair Lucky Gallon for a review. We're going to take it out of the box and put her together. All right, now get to watch a grown man fight with a cardboard box. Okay, and this is, yeah, why not? Ugh. Come on. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Okay. A little bit about the plane. Simple plane as far as 4-channel control. Wing is one piece. She's got a 990 millimeter wingspan or a 39-inch wingspan. Ready to fly weight, which would be with a recommended 2200 4S battery. She's 33 ounces or 960 grams. She's 31 inches long. She's got 4 9-gram digital servos, an 8x6 prop, 40 amp brushless ESC, and the motor is a 3108 1070 kV. That's the stock motor, which is what I'll be using. And the battery is a 2200 4S recommended with a 30 to a 60C recommended, which what I'll be flying with will be with either a Turnigy or a China Hobby 2200. Well, for right now, I'm going to be using a China Hobby 2200, and this has a 40C discharge. All right. In the box, of course, you get your quick startup guide, which is in all these. I just want you to look at some before I cut and go to opening. Look at how everything's in here. All this foam keeps, I mean, you could take this thing, drop it off the back of a truck, and you're not going to damage anything because this is all sandwiched in these foam support walls. So let me cut all this out, get everything out, and we'll be right back. Alrighty, we've got everything out of the box now. Everything was very protected and in great shape. Love these hard, it's got like a hard plastic skid here because this is a belly lander. That is all, these sections here are all hard plastic. The entire plane has already been treated with a clear coat. Let's look at these these hinges. Okay, we do have foam hinges. But it does appear to have some, yeah, there's some laminate in there. So that'll help with endurance. Eventually, as the foam gets old and dry, you might want to put you a little bit of Blenderm tape, or maybe the foam, hold the foam treatment that I like to use is just a real thin bead. You need to undo this and put a real thin bead of the hold the foam by Beacon. And it's just really super thin bead. And it's just a rubbery glue, like Elmer's glue on steroids. And that'll keep the nice healthy hinge. But that's later on down the road if you start noticing a little bit of wear and tear on the hinge. You have a choice of 2 different canopies that you can glue on. I am going to be using the silvery reflective one because that will help in our Florida sun. That's going to shine and reflect off the sunlight, and it'll help me with orientation. You know me, I'm all about orientation with my failing eyesight. Now I don't like the fact this is a tiller type, but that's for this size of the model, that's okay. What I mean by a tiller, you've got an iron bar here, it goes across in here, and then you got one connection point that controls both parts of the element. It's sufficient, but they do have it reinforced there, so that makes, you got these plates there that reinforces that, because this is a plane that's got some speed to it. But that's a very common practice, but it is reinforced, but that makes it more than acceptable. Again, a nice foam hinge that's got a very strong laminate. There is a carbon spar that goes all the way through, so that's good there. And like you say, you got a one-piece wing, and yeah, there's a carbon spar that goes, there's something there. I really can't, to be honest, I can't see it. The paint is so thick that I really can't see through it. Sometimes you can see through the foam and see what's in there, but there's some sort of reinforcement in there. Of course, you got the canopy. It's got a little piece of red colored tape, which is a nice little touch. You don't have that clear tape. You've actually got a piece of red tape that matches the top of that canopy. And then you got your two adjustments for your elevator and rudder. Obviously the cowl here is magnetic, held on by magnets, which is cool. See the magnets in there? See the magnet points? Makes it very nice to service your motor. And now that does make it a little awkward how you figure out how that goes back on there, but I can just line up the magnets, I would assume. So however way it fits. Oh, well, there you go. The plastic skid on the bottom, okay, is how that goes. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Just like that. Easy peasy lemon squeeze. I'm glad that's magnetic. And it's fairly strong. I mean, don't grab it by that. But yeah, that's good. Anyways, you got an XT60 connector. Got your servo lead for the throttle. Now, that yellow wire is usually indicative to an ESC that has thrust reverse. This is a belly landing plane. You're not going to use this. This is just the ESC they use. Had the plane, if it was a different kind of plane with on floats or something, or it had tundra wheels or something, then you might want to use thrust reverse if the option for the ESC is open. Normally, they usually all you got to do is plug it into an open channel. Okay. Now, you also get prop adapter, 8x6 prop. You've got two huge amount, a whole bunch of screws. The one screw, the big main wing bolt, and this is the one that holds the tail assembly together. Okay, both Phillips head screws. Okay, one nylon, one not. And then you've got the 8x6 prop. Now, I purposely have it already on my prop balancer to show a point. I've got no fans on. I've got no kind of influence. Still air, and that's important when you're balancing a prop. What I'm looking for, does it hold its position? If I put it like this, does it hold its position? Do I go down? If I move the prop this way, does it hold its position? What I'm looking for is to be one prop to be heavier than the other. Like say this is the prop, the heavier prop, and it keeps going to the bottom. No matter what I do, this prop would keep going to the bottom. So if that was the case, the quick way to balance would be a little piece of Scotch tape on the lighter blade to where the prop would just stay like this one is. The long way and the permanent way would be to get a hold of the heavier prop and take you some fine grit sandpaper and sand off a little material on the inside of the prop until you get a prop like this. It's perfectly balanced. And this one is perfectly balanced. Alrighty. So that's just a nice little step that they've already taken that now I don't have to take, because this plane does build up some speed. And when you've got a fast plane, you want a well-balanced, you want a balanced prop no matter what you do. But yeah, a balanced prop is very important. And especially with anything that's going to have some speed. Now, you also get some Velcro, double-sided Velcro. They give you these two smaller patches. I'm going to assume this is for your receiver. Okay, you got both sides. And then you've got the hook and loop tape for the battery itself. Now, I always put fuzzy, the soft side, on my batteries, and I put the prickly side in my plane. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do just now, while we're standing here looking cute, I'm going to go ahead and lay that right down there. Just like so. Okay. All right. Now, this is an incredibly hard build. I'm going to take your Phillips head screwdriver, which I got a small one here somewhere. Right here. Okay. And I'm going to undo, right here you've got these quick connects, okay, for your rudder and your elevator. Go ahead and undo them, okay, to where that the push rod moves freely, okay. I'm going to grab it and move it freely, okay. Watch right here, okay. See the rudder moving? Because if I want to adjust that, then I can. See over here, the other side, right there at that end? See that moving? Oh, and it's got that lock-in style. I just want that to be loose for what I'm about, to do. I got to remember not to grab it by the cowl. Okay, I might just, you know, put a couple of beads of glue or something on that just to keep that, or maybe some tape or something to keep that from happening. Okay, all right, that's loose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that rudder to one side. Remember, I loosened that up, okay? I'm going to take, you're going to put the control rod side down, or that side down, because it's going to hook up right there. Slide that into place, okay? It only fits one way. It's obvious. Actually, I didn't even need to undo that because I realized it connects from the bottom. There's your screw hole. Take the one metal screw you've got. Okay. Don't even need a plane stand for this one. Drop the screw down in there like that. Okay. I always like to support what I'm doing from the other side. Don't drop the screw like that. As you can tell, here at Fat Guy Flies RC, probably a plane stand would have been good. We're not what you call spit and polish, you know, but we get it done. All right, that's not quite lining up, so pull that in there a little bit more. Let me get a screwdriver that's got a little more oomph to it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. I'm going to support on the other side. And I'm looking for this gap right here to close, to get a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. Just don't go nice and finger tight. Way to tell if you're finger tight, or you don't grab your whole hand and turn. Just when you get down to the bottom, okay, then just take your finger, just your fingertips, okay. If I can get it to line up in the groove, okay. And then just take your fingertips, and just the strength of your fingertips is all that's needed. And that is in there. Okay. The next extremely hard thing to do. See those two white pegs? Okay, those two holes right there. Okay, FBI calls that a clue. Okay, there's a hole there. You're going to fish your aileron leads, servo leads through there. Okay, pull them all the way through. Don't want them to get bound or pinched or anything. This model wants it to be complicated, and it's not. There's a bug in here. Okay. Fish that down there like that. Should fit nice and flush. You're looking for this to be flush right here. Go ahead and just grab it like that. Okay. That's the way what I'm doing is I'm using my finger in this exit exhaust hole, and I'm squeezing that together. I'm going to take this nylon screw. Okay, now I haven't tested, you should always test fit things. I haven't test fit anything. I've watched enough videos on this thing that should be a very simple, and it is, it's a very simple build. Okay, and I'm just tightening up that screw. It's definitely got bite. Baby got bite. Okay. Now I'm keeping an eye on this seam here. Okay. Yep. All right. And the time that I saw this go flush is the exact same time that the screw bottomed out. So I'm going to take my fingers and just my finger strength and just give a little tight turn. Now that is on there. Okay. Now, since I don't have a battery or anything in there, and I know my prop is all, I'm going to undo my prop adapter. Okay, unscrew this. This is the part you're going to leave together. This is the backing plate. This is the actual what grabs the shaft of the motor. Okay. Shaft of the motor. Slide that on there. Push that prop all the way back. When you put a prop on, props are always going to turn, normally going to turn counterclockwise. So see the blade of that prop should turn towards me, just like that. But it's already sits on there nice and flush. There's no play, which is very important. Okay. Now, it's wanting to turn with me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this tightened up all the way. And as it gets down there, see, starting to get some grab. Okay, get some grab. It's going to get some grab. I'm going to carefully set the model down. Okay. Then I'm going to take a tool. There's a pilot hole here. Take a tool, holding my prop. Okay. Now this here, you don't go crazy pressure because you're a lot stronger than the material, but you want to get this one nice and tight. All right. Now it's on there. Okay, that is not gonna let go. Okay, go ahead and put your wires back in. Okay, and that's the basic build so far. We got one more small step. They did not include any glue. Okay, but glue that's great for this sort of thing, this application. I recommend a product called Foam Tack or the white tube glue, the Chinese glue. They're all just a simple contact cement. Now, what I would like to do is this outer rim, this rim right here. Okay, this outer rim. This is where you're going to apply your glue. Okay, what I want to do, I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to run just a little bit of marring just on that outer rim. Okay, not much. You don't need much. Just a little bit of marring. Okay, a little bit of indentation. Give some more surface area for that glue to attach. And then I'm on the inside ring. Just take a nice bead of this. And it doesn't have to be foam tack. It can be, of course, you got to get some glue. I have used this poor tube of glue. I need to get some more. Doesn't take much. We're not having this isn't a structure type piece, okay? It's not going to take much. Just a nice thin bead on there. Okay. See? All right. Now, going to carefully place it the very top edge on the middle and let it fall down in place. Just like that. And make it nice and pretty. Now, carefully pull it back up. See the strings? I'll get it stringy. Put it right back down again. Okay. Now, if you have some glue that squishes out the sides, that's okay. Just take your finger, okay, and it just rubs off. That's all you got to do. All right. Now, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the optimal place for receiver placement, okay? Now, this is the rule of thumb for, oh yeah, we do need to, I can make this real quick. Let's go ahead and hook up Normally I like to get the receiver in and get it bound up before I start hooking up any linkages. But since this has a very easy way to adjust, I'm going to go ahead and get everything hooked up. All right. Now, this elevator linkage here, this is like a quick connect protector, okay? And what you do is you're going to see that the L shape, okay? You're going to take this protector, pull it off, and it just comes off like so, okay? All right. You're going to turn this. What I would suggest doing is put it on the inside. I'll show you I'm going to put it in the middle. This is why I like that being adjustable. I'm going to put it in the middle hole, okay, of the elevator. John VHRC, I think he put his in the middle too. And this is just something you have to finagle in there. It might even be easier to take a pair of needle nose pliers to, in fact, I might just do that in order to get good grip on that little round wire. Okay. And then I'm going to fit that through that middle hole. This is probably the most tedious part of the entire build. Okay, when you're done, you got it connected. See how that is? See that there? Now, that little peg that's sticking out, see the hole in the end of that? All right, I'm going to take that, put that little peg through that hole, and see how that lines up on there like that? Let's get closer there. See how that lines up on there? Just make sure, and that way it can't come undone. Okay, because it's got that little. Now, if you're absolutely afraid that that's going to come undone, what you can do is take a little zip tie. And put it right around that. Just as long as that zip tie doesn't rub against the fuse. In fact, you know what? Let me find a small zip tie. I'll do that and I'll show that in the radio setup. Okay. But there you go. Let's talk about receiver placement. Now, this is a simple 4-channel plane. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to have 100% throws, 30% expo on everything. But what's more important now is talk about receiver placement. Okay, and this rule applies to any plane, okay? You have to understand something about receivers, okay? If you have an antennaless receiver, the entire receiver is an antenna, okay? In this case, we have a very long antenna. See that thread, that real hair-looking piece? This is the most active end of the receiver, okay? This section needs to be protected at all costs. So, what I'm wanting to imagine is I got the motor here, I got the ESC up here, and I got the battery here. I don't want this active end anywhere near that. Back here, I've got a couple servos. Okay, big deal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this antenna and I'm going to shove this thing way back up in there where there's nothing back there but just those 2 push rods, okay? There's nothing really back there. So there's nothing for that receiver to get damaged by, okay, or interfere with. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to mount it right there. So I'm going to hold it in place. I'm going to mount it right there, and that active end is just laying back in here. So that way, if the model's coming at me, I get reception here. If the model's upside down, I get reception here. Obviously, anything from the rear or sideways. What I'm the most worried about is a direct reception between this motor and between the line of sight receiver, the antenna. But that little bit of blockage is only going to be for a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, okay, of blockage. You don't have to worry about it, okay? What would be worried is if you had that receiver between two batteries or between a big bunch of carbon spar or something to where it blocks the signal for extended period of time based upon how you're flying. This little, and then on top of that, when you have a good powerful transmitter and a powerful receiver like the Spectrums are, they pretty much overcompensate anyways, so you don't have to really worry about that. So this definitely will not be a problem with reception. I'm going to mount it right there. We'll hook everything up, okay, and I'll go over the rates and the radio setup and everything after the maiden, because what I like to do is fly the plane, fly it around, show you how well it performs and everything, and then come back and say, see, here are the rates that I just flew in. Here's what I did to set this up electronically. And that way, I'm not just pulling it out of my butt. You saw it in action. It's been proven. Okay, so we'll talk about radio and all that kind of stuff after the maiden. And hopefully, Lord willing, the creek don't rise in weather, we'll be able to do that very, very soon. It is late Thursday night or late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning here about the 14th of May. So hopefully we'll be able to get this out tomorrow and get you a flight for it and get a couple of maiden, maybe a speed run, see what we can do. All right, God bless y'all. Oh yeah, real quick, talk about CG, but that'll be something. CG is actually, if I remember right, it is 60 to 70 millimeters back from the leading edge of the wing, which is the very front edge, okay? So 60 to 70 millimeters back. This is just how I do this. This is not hard at all, okay? 60 to 70, okay? And all I'm going to do, real high-tech stuff, take a Sharpie. Okay, we said, because I have no memory whatsoever, we said 60 to 70. I'm going to measure, and I'm going to put my 70 mark, okay, right there. And I'm going to put my 60 mark right there. I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to put my 70 mark. And I'll put my 60 mark. Okay. Now, I'm actually going, I like doing this because I can never remember. I'm going to write on here 70, 60, 70, 60. Now, you could get you some CG stickers or whatever you want. Another thing you could do is get some hot glue going and put you a bead of hot glue directly on the 60 dot and directly on the 70 dot. And then you'll feel those beads. And then whenever you're checking your CG, you put your finger between them two beads and you know you're right on the CG. Okay, that's just a little pro tip. Don't charge extra for that. But now I'll know forever. 60 and 70. And it's underneath the wing anyways. No one's going to see it. And you certainly aren't going to see it when it flies. But now I have a visual reference point. Well, that's pretty much it. We'll get it out to the field. We'll get you a flight. Try to do a speed test with it. Do some maneuvers. Have fun with it. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much for watching. Again, Hobby King, thank you for the plane. Thank you for putting your trust in me to review these planes for you. And there you go, folks. Don't forget, God bless y'all. God is good. And don't forget, folks, faith, family, and friends, and then Reno Racer Corsairs.